What Louise is saying is, look, you can imagine, okay, a second Trump administration, what would it be like? What would it be like for women? We don't have to, because it's happening right now where people are bleeding out in their cars from having miscarriages that should be treated and attended to. They're losing their ability to ever have children again, right? Because hospital workers are more concerned with bureaucracy than people's lives. So, Pierre, don't interrupt me as you're talking about abortion rights and you say you support a woman's right to choose. Shut up and listen. As someone who's a mom, as someone who could have died herself, okay? It's time for you to shut up and listen to the women who are telling you loud and clear, we are dying out here. You're putting our lives on the line out here. Women in red states, women in blue states, women all over. It doesn't matter whether we love Trump or we hate Trump. The effect of overturning Roe v. Wade is the same. Our lives are on the line.
Francesca Fiorentini was a guest on Piers Morgan's show, Piers Morgan Uncensored, where she went up against yet another panel full of right-wingers. This time, Francesca Fiorentini was debating with not just right-winger Piers Morgan, but right-wing influencer Emily Austin, Fox host Kat Timpf, and ex-conservative MP Louise Mensch. So the topic was the laughable idea of Donald Trump as the protector of women. As you can imagine, things got very heated with this. We're going to take a look at clips from Piers Morgan's show. I'll share my thoughts from time to time. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I want to play you a clip of Donald Trump talking about how you protect women. This was at a rally in Pennsylvania on Monday.
You will be protected, and I will be your protector. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion. It's all they talk about, abortion, because we've done something that nobody else could have done. It is now where it always had to be, with the states and a vote of the people.
Jessica, do you feel that Donald is your big protector? You're looking forward to being protected by him?
How much time do you have? Yeah, I like how this is just an ad for like Stepford Wives 2025. You won't be thinking about abortion because we'll do mass lobotomies. Like, no, thank you. Why does this sound like less of a promise and more of a threat, right? Like, and yeah, he's right. He did something no other politician could do. He's increased maternal mortality rate by exorbitant rates. Over in Texas, 56% of pregnant women have been facing mortality rates because the hospitals do not want to treat their very, very treatable conditions. Again, these are people who want to be parents. These are not people who are seeking abortion. But then we talk about those women, let's say in Georgia, who have died because hospital workers, because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade, are too afraid to perform necessary life-saving procedures on women. So yeah, I love this like weird promise. You're not going to be thinking about it anymore. Like for all this, like, you know, anti-Haitian rhetoric, he's sure doing weird voodoo mind tricks on all of us. Like, I don't want a protector. Thank you. Least of all you, man who hung out with Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy. No thanks. Pass. Hard pass.
Emily.
And before Piers Morgan asked Francesca Fiorentini another question here, I just want to say it's so bizarre with Donald Trump, where he's said over and over and over again, with him doing what nobody else could do, we finally overturned Roe v. Wade, what everybody wanted. No, everybody didn't want that. Trump keeps saying that over and over again. 2/3 of the country, 2/3 of the people in the United States wanted Roe v. Wade to be left alone. So now with Trump's Supreme Court having overturned it, it's just caused chaos around the country. Trump keeps saying, well, now it'll be turned over to the states so everybody can vote. In a lot of now, in the places where people have been able to vote, even in red states, they have overturned abortion bans and basically gone back to Roe v. Wade. But a whole bunch of states, the state that I live in, for example, they're not going to allow a vote to happen. In the cases of Republicans controlling the legislatures in those states, they're not going to allow a vote to happen. So essentially, abortion will be banned in those states, which is not what the majority of people want.
Emily, what do you feel about Donald the Protector for all women?
I think, excuse me, I forgot her name. She's just a clear face
Francesca
of what
Fiorentini, host of the Habituation
Trump derangement
podcast.
syndrome is. Because, excuse me, can you hear me? She's a clear portrait of what TDS is, because you have Donald Trump, who everyone claims wants to get rid of abortion, who wants to violate women's reproductive rights, go out there and reassure everyone. Like he said numerous times, I do not plan on taking this right away from you. I will protect you. Women do feel unsafe today. The whole country is in a state of lawlessness. So here he is reassuring you that everything's going to be okay. But
Now, I got to stop here for a second. This is the right wing's go-to trope. The United States, in the minds of these right-wing pundits and politicians, is like something out of a Mad Max movie where it's just lawlessness everywhere and we're all out in the desert fending for water or whatever. I mean, it's just nuts. And TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, I'm so tired of this dumb expression by the right wing. They say so much garbage like this that just sounds like something a child would say.
somehow you'll manage to spin that into something negative and make a comedic skit out of it, when this is exactly what the people need to be hearing. But then again, you have TDS, so I understand.
Louise, what do you feel about Trump? I mean, look, there's no doubt that for every woman that doesn't like Trump in America, there's pretty much a woman who loves him. That's what all the polling says. I mean,
that's so unscientific, Piers. That is such a load
that's
of
not what the polling
horse
says.
crap,
If I could just,
that is, like,
that is not what it says. There is a
You
huge
just literally
lead
woke
for
up and
Kamala
pulled that
Harris
out of the
amongst
sky.
women. Wait, there is a huge lead for Kamala Harris among women. Absolutely huge. In fact, that's what Trump opened with. I gather that some women don't like me. I don't know why. I think I'm great. Well, thanks, Captain Bone Spurs. But I don't need you. The real Trump derangement syndrome is thinking that Trump could protect anybody. And if you want to talk about seeing dead people the way that Kat did the other day, Trump literally said, bring back Johnny Carson to the Tonight Show. The man's been dead for years.
you see,
Can
but that's
imagine
okay. But
if
that's
it was Joe Biden who did that.
Hang on. That's a classic example of where the Trump loathers get so deranged they deliberately misrepresent what actually got said and what happened.
And Piers Morgan, who over and over and over on his show claims to not be a right-winger, does nothing but simp for Donald Trump and attack progressives like Francesca Fiorentini, standard Democrats like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and then this Louise on here, who I'm not familiar with, had not seen her prior to this panel, Louise Mensch. She's a conservative, or was a conservative MP in the UK, and is still not as conservative as all the crazy right-wingers that we have here in the United States, at least on this issue.
Happened. I watched that clip in its entirety, and he knows Johnny Carson's dead. He was making the point, I wish we had Johnny Carson to bring back. He never said
That's
he
not
thinks
what he
he's...
said, Piers.
He never said he thinks
He
he's
said,
still alive.
"Bring back
Nobody
Johnny
watching
Carson."
it.
That's a direct
Nobody
quote.
watching it thinks Trump thinks he's still alive. But it's a bit like the he's gonna.
I did. He's
it's a bit like the
demented.
bloodbath thing, right?
He's
Isn't it? It's a bit like the bloodbath thing, where
He's
we're all
senile.
led to believe by Kamala Harris in that debate that Trump warned if he doesn't win, there'll be a bloodbath, and we all have this imagery of wow, everyone's going to be dying, and then
Yeah,
you
we have
remember.
this imagery
hang
of,
on,
like, what
hang
happened
on,
on January
hang on,
6th.
calm down,
I mean,
lefties.
do you remember
and
what
then, calm
happened?
down,
Wasn't
and then
it?
you remember.
Was it?
Calm down, lefties, from Piers. I don't think I've ever heard him say calm down, righties, when you have all the right-wing pundits that he has on his show throwing out insane conspiracy theories.
I'd like to think at
But
the end
Piers,
of it.
you're being so.
Go on.
You're so dishonest, dude. You're so dishonest, though, because all you do on this show is play off social media algorithms to get people to fight. You lead with it in the cold open and you get the clicks. And if you don't hit a mill, you never ask that person back. You literally play the game that Kat is decrying. And I think that I love the idea, especially I love Kat's book and the way it targets women, because specifically women are the ones who it's like, if we say one thing that you don't like, I hated you from the beginning, right? Women are extra vulnerable to this, especially online. But Piers, stop pretending like you think there's something wrong and we can't. Why can't we reach across the aisle and hold hands? Because your whole algorithm is based on it. Your whole model is based on it.
Francesca, it's a lovely statement that will get you lots of clicks from your followers, and that's why you've just delivered your little monologue. However, it's based on
I'm here on this panel for free.
It's based on an entire. It's based on a false premise.
I do not have nearly the following that you do. I'm just trying to point out your own hypocrisy.
You don't normally get 1 million views for me, but I still invite you back. So that can't be true. I do it as an act of charity because I like you.
I check the sets. You know I crush. You know I crush, Piers.
I like having you on because you're so annoying.
Same.
Piers, can I add something?
Yes.
I wanted to respond to Louise, and Louise, you know I adore you. I just really happen to think it's a little pathetic that a lot of the left will use complete fabrications about Trump to support their narrative, to support their policies, to support Kamala Harris, rather than using her strengths. You know,
Both
if you feel like she has
use
any, please go ahead and
about the
amplify
other
them.
side.
They would. Okay, I'll give you a clear cut
like
example.
the Haitians are eating cats and dogs,
the
those
View
kinds
sent,
of fabrications.
I'll back it up with facts. No, they both do. I'm pointing out a specific example from The View today. So they spent an entire segment talking about the filibuster that is going to be debated between the 6 of them, whether it should be removed or not to protect women's reproductive rights. They wasted an entire segment talking about something that Trump already said he wouldn't do. So, and if you think that helps Kamala Harris, it does, but you're lying about something that Donald Trump had said and done. And my point is that how come you need to resort to lies instead of things that Kamala has as strengths?
They're saying they're going to get rid of the filibuster because Kamala says it's not what Trump's going to do. Kamala says that she will bring in a national abortion measure permitting abortion, just like Roe. Before Roe was overturned, she will legislate it. It will be a law. And she is saying that we'll get rid of the filibuster on the positive side so that you can't stop me from making abortion a national right. And I can tell you as a Harris supporter, all I want all day long is for Donald Trump to talk about abortion. Please. Yep. Keep talking about it.
But when you
Please.
do talk about
it's a winning issue for us.
But Louise, when people talk about Trump about Trump and abortion, I constantly hear from Kamala Harris and everyone on the left and the Democrats that Trump wants a national abortion ban. He has never said that.
She tweets it almost every single day.
He's repeatedly denied that. He has no desire to do that. In fact, whenever he's mused about what he thinks any kind of federal, obviously he's proud he's returned to the States. Fine, that may or may not be the right call. That's down to Americans. But he has said openly he thinks a 15-week term limit sounds about right. That puts him in line with most moderate European countries on abortion. He's not an abortion extremist. To pretend he is, and to deliberately misuse anything he said about this issue is just very disingenuous.
I think
Piers,
so too,
two
Piers,
things,
and
two
I agree
things
with
if I
you.
may.
I say that as somebody,
I was asked about this.
I say
I'd
that
like
as
to
somebody,
answer
by the
it.
way, who supports
I would
a
like to
woman's
answer it.
right to choose what she wants to do with her body, and we men should stick out of it. That is my personal position. But I don't like to see Trump regularly, deliberately misquoted about this when there's evidence to the contrary.
Piers, can I just say something? He picked J.D. Vance to be his vice president. He is an elderly man. Any way you cut it. If he dies in office, just of natural causes or whatever, J.D. Vance becomes the president. And J.D. Vance has said on the record many times that he, Vance, supports a national abortion plan. Now, it doesn't matter
then say it about J.D. Vance. Then fine, and quote J.D. Vance.
Sending it back to the,
Don't
but he's on
pretend
the
it's
ticket.
Trump's. Don't pretend it's Trump's position.
But he's never committed to veto it. Do you know what I'm saying, Piers? He's never said. He's been asked if he would veto it.
And the other thing, by the way, the other thing Francesca, hang on, the other thing Francesca likes to. The other thing Francesca likes to hang on.
I think it's a really important.
The other thing Francesca likes to bang on about is the way Trump has personally packed the Supreme Court with.
Francesca Fiorentini bangs on about that, Piers Morgan, because Donald Trump did pack the Supreme Court. But proceed.
Conservative judges. And you know what I think? Why didn't the Democrats get their act in order and persuade their judges on that court to step aside when they could have
Mitch
replaced
McConnell
them
would
with
like a
younger
word.
people.
You could
The truth
understand him
is,
through
you
his
allowed
gobbling.
yourselves as a party to be lassoed by people who went on way too long, and that created an opportunity for Trump to pat the court, as the Democrats would
That's
do
right.
if they got the chance every single time.
That's right.
They
Don't
attempted
lose.
to,
Don't
except
lose elections.
Mitch
So we're not going to
McConnell
lose this one.
prevented Obama from confirming Merrick Garland. And I think what Louise is saying is, look, you can imagine, okay, a second Trump administration, what would it be like? What would it be like for women? We don't have to, because it's happening right now, where people are bleeding out in their cars from having miscarriages that should be treated and attended to. They're losing their ability to ever have children again, right? Because hospital workers are more concerned with bureaucracy than
Francesca.
people's lives.
Okay, look.
So, Pierre, don't interrupt me as you're talking about abortion rights and you say you support a woman's right to choose. Shut up and listen. As someone who's a mom, as someone who could have died herself, okay? It's time for you to shut up and listen to the women who are telling you loud and clear, we are dying out here. You're putting our lives on the line out here. Women in red states, women in blue states, women all over. It doesn't matter whether we love Trump or we hate Trump. The effect of overturning Roe v. Wade is the same. Our lives are on the line, okay? We don't need to imagine the future. It is here right
You've
now.
made your point. You've made your point very forcefully. I'm going to change topics.
So a very powerful statement to Francesca, a very powerful statement by Francesca Fiorentini here to Piers Morgan on his show. And for once, Piers Morgan actually let her speak. I mean, he tried to interrupt her, but in the end, she was able to keep going and he let her get her message out. But back to the point that Piers Morgan was trying to make about the Supreme Court, he completely glosses over, and this is something that the mainstream media doesn't talk much about at all, and Francesca Fiorentini, being talked over, tried to push back against Piers Morgan on, is that when Barack Obama was president, there was an open seat that he should have been able to appoint a Supreme Court justice, and Mitch McConnell blocked that. It never should have been allowed, but he did it, and that led to one conservative Supreme Court justice, and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg was also replaced by a Trump appointee, and now we have a majority conservative court, and they're able to do things like overturn Roe v. Wade, and here we are. But how do you think, I think Francesca Fiorentini did a great job here with this panel. Again, Piers Morgan always puts her up where she's outnumbered. Now, we had the UK conservative who is more liberal than a lot of our so-called conservatives here in the United States. But Francesca Fiorentini was going up against the other two, and I think she got out her points here beautifully. She does a great job on Piers Morgan's show. And I loved how she called him out on how he just wants people fighting so he can get clicks. But what do you think? How do you think Francesca Fiorentini did here against this panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored? Make sure to leave me a comment. I love to read your comments, whether it's about Piers Morgan, Francesca Fiorentini, or anything else. Make sure to give me a like and subscribe. The channel's growing really, really quickly, and that is because of your likes and subscribes and views and comments. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so I can continue to grow and bring out more content like this. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you in the next video.